Hi there, it's Sandra, and you are listening to the podcast A Duchess Like Us. Hello, and welcome to episode 25. Oh my God, 25 of A Duchess Like Us, a podcast that reports positively and fairly on Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Today, I'm joined by Nellie and Gail, my co-hosts for this episode of the podcast. So, ladies, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hello, I'm Nellie, your foul-mouthed sister from over Hadrian's Wall, and tonight I'm drinking some port. Oh, this is my victory port. My victory port.
Oh, and it's funny, you're drinking port, Nelly, and I'm
Yeah.
drinking my G&T.
Oh, yes.
I'm having a G&T. So, hi, everyone. I'm Gail Edwards. You can find me on Twitter as Breakthrough Diva. Very easily recognised on Twitter because I'm the one flying that Sussex flag literally 24/7, it feels like some days. But I'm there. You know, I'm a big supporter of the Sussexes, big supporter of anything that's against injustice and parity and equity. So yeah, I'm looking forward to today's discussion, ladies. We've got a lot of great stuff to talk about this evening.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we have. So, yeah, let's just begin. So I'm going to say again, hello everybody. We're back. I mean, what is it? We're less than 2 weeks since the last episode, but I thought that we couldn't not celebrate today because we've had some fantastic news for Meghan. So, as I was saying, we've had a real roller coaster for the last few days with news about Meghan and Harry, because on Monday, the 29th of November, which was last Monday, we had the second and final episode of the documentary, The Princes and the Press. We'll talk about that later because, yeah, we'll talk about it later. And then on Thursday, the 2nd of December, we had the fabulous news that the Mail on Sunday's appeal against Meghan's privacy lawsuit, which she was awarded by the judge, had failed. So Meghan wins again. Take
Pew,
that.
pew, pew.
Take that.
So,
Head back, rewind it back.
Woo-hoo. That's all I'm going to
Love
say.
it.
So, and we're being quite polite here now because we could have done a whole bit more, but you know, we're being restrained, we're being polite. But I've got to say, yeah, take it, because you people are disgusting. Anyway, so on today's episode of the podcast, we're going to discuss these events in a bit more detail. So let's start with that documentary, The Princes and the Press, and the second part of it. So as I said, on Monday, the 29th of November, the BBC broadcast the second and final episode of the documentary, The Princes and the Press. And in it, Amol Rajan continued to look into the relationship between the royals, but in particular, the relationships between the Princes Harry and William and the Royal Rota here in the UK. Anyhow, in this second episode, I was actually curious to see what they were going to make of it, what they were going to say, because the first episode surprised me, as you all know, last time, because it wasn't that bad. It was actually quite fair. So I was actually curious to see how they're going to finish this, how they're going to carry on with the tone and what they were going to do. And to be honest, I watched the episode and it was actually really disappointing. In my opinion, they could have had another balanced episode where it was presented fairly. But what we got was an episode that was edited really heavily in favor of the UK press, and all the major points of the last 2 or 3 years. We got great explanations in detail from the UK press's point of view, and it could have been like a 4 or 5 minute explanation. And then when it came to the Sussex's viewpoint, we got 30 seconds. And I was just like, well, why did you even bother? Why did you just put it from the press and the palace's point of view? Why did you waste our time by coming out with this, I don't know, this travesty? That's what I can think of, really. So, ladies, I'm not going to go into detail about it because it was a waste of my time, and I'm not going to give any credit to that piece because it was just really disappointed. What do you? How do you feel about it? Because it was just a joke.
I'm chomping at the bit here.
Go on then.
Yeah, chomping at the bit. So, bit like you, Sandra, I was looking forward to the second episode because I wanted to see whether they were going to continue in the vein of fairness that they had started in episode 1. And all I can say, having watched both of them, it was a complete missed opportunity. What we got was a very clear illustration that the BBC had indeed been, inverted commas, got at, and that the editing, it was clumsy. It was very, very clumsy editing. That's why we know that it was heavily edited, because it was very clumsy. That again put more of this slant on the Sussexes. Now, I watched that program. Well, my initial reason for watching that program as an objective viewer, so not as me, Breakthrough Diva, who is all things Sussex, but as an objective viewer, would have been to see and to find out more information about this relationship between the princes and the press. What we got, certainly in episode 2, was yet a more kind of indoctrination of the British public that all things Cambridge and Charles and the heirs are fantastic, and this awful, interloper has come and swept up our Harry, and these are the stories to prove it. And even though it wasn't as heavy as some of the other documentaries that have been on Harry and Meghan, what they tried to do here, the BBC, was to hide behind objectivity. But it was very clear from that second episode where their allegiance, if you like, lies. So I didn't think that the second episode was fair at all. I just thought it was it was a cheap shot. That's what it was. It was just a very cheap shot, and it felt a bit like it was to allay some of the fears, if you like, or the concerns of the flipping palace. But
I agree with that.
To be honest, that so-called series in inverted commas could have ended at episode 1.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah,
I'm gonna jump in there and just say something else as well. It was, how can I put it? It could have been, and I said this before, it could have been a very, very balanced piece if they had done it properly. But I could see, like you said, they were clearly scared of something. And it was like, as you said, they're either scared of the palace or they're scared of the government not getting their funding. They were scared of something because it was a joke of an episode. It really was. And I watched it twice. I watched the first time, I was vexed the first time. And the second time I watched it, I was just really dispassionate about it. I just looked at it from a really analytical eye. And I could see, and I'm not a broadcast specialist or anything like that, but even I could see it was butchered. And it was butchered. It just didn't flow. And as you said, that you can tell when it's been butchered because it just didn't flow properly. And I just didn't like the way you had all the emphasis on the palace and then you had 2 seconds on the Sussexes, and it was like, what got me the most, I'm going to say this because that's what I was like, this is a piece of shit. When they were talking about the Bashir interview with about Diana, and they came out and they said about, they had William's statement, they had him reading to the press and blah, blah, blah. And they went, oh yeah, and Harry said this. Nothing. There was nothing. And in that statement that William made, he called his mother paranoid. Not a word was said. Not a word was said.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, at this stage, Stevie Wonder is questioning the invisible contract because he can see it clear as day. So, you know, and I really do question anyone. I mean, today I was saying earlier before we actually started recording that, you know, Mondays tends to be my kind of like admin day, which is my code word for Twitter day. Right? That's what it really means. I've got time on Twitter on a Monday. Right? And I've been reading a lot of comments from various factions on various stories. Still some comments around Princess in the Press, some comments about, you know, the Saudi Arabian thing that Charles has got himself embroiled in, comments regarding the court case, comments regarding even Ghislaine Maxwell's case. Please, listeners, can you please remember that Ghislaine Maxwell is on trial right now in New York, and Prince Andrew is implicated within that case. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm not saying he's innocent. What I'm saying is that he's implicated. Okay. And it's up to him what he chooses to do to make sure that he is no longer implicated. Right. Take from that what you will. But that's what's going on at the moment. And watching all these comments, it's quite clear. And anyone that cannot see that this is a smear campaign, a hatchet job, it's steeped in racism and misogyny and xenophobia. If anyone at this stage can't see that, then more fool them. You know, whatever happens to your life as a consequence of your ignorance really has to be at your front door now, because it's so clear. And I know as we go on to speak about the court case a bit later, you know, it's so clear. And anyone that's still flying that royalist flag, and, you know, let's exempt the Queen because for some reason she gets, you know, some kind of anonymity. So let's just exempt her. But anyone that's still flying that flag for Charles and William and the whole lot of them, really, it's 2021. You need your head tested. These people are no better than you. They are no better than you. They came out of royal orifices, and that's what makes them royal. That's it. Their blood is red, and they still put on their pants one leg at a time. Until they find a way to put on their pants any other way, they are the same as you and I. And you are allowing these people to make you feel less than, and to make you feel that you have to doff your cap and worship and bow down to them because of what? Because of what? They have shown you that they treat their own family worse than some of us treat our family.
Yep,
exactly.
And that's the thing that really irritates me right now about this whole royalist thing, and the commentaries against Meghan and against Harry. And you know, someone just put a tweet up. I can't remember who it was. I read it literally in the last few minutes, saying that, you know, Harry says the sky is blue, and the Daily Mail and all the other tabloids, and not even just tabloids, any royal reporter, anyone that thinks that, you know, the royals are better than they are, they then put out a statement saying, how dare woke Harry talk about blue sky when it's obviously grey, you know.
In Britain. It's not grey in Los Angeles. I mean, in California. Right. Montecito,
exactly.
Definitely
and
not.
I just think that as a country we have lost our minds. We are now literally the proverbial headless chickens. You know, I've never seen anything like it. I can't believe it. Some days I'm like, what? I'm incredulous. I'm like, am I really a middle-aged woman now watching all this play out in front of my eyes? Because if anyone had told me this, I would have said no. No. Lie. Not civilized manner, you know, full of manners, uptight Britain. Surely not.
We've just shown our true colours now, aren't we? Well, not
Absolutely.
all of us. You know, it's the loud minority who are basically disgracing this country. You know, the people who shout the loudest are the ones who get all the attention, but they're supported by that complicit media. Keep saying it.
Mhm.
We have a complicit media, and this is what's driving it through.
Yeah.
I don't even know
Because
if it.
I think it is.
We do
Can-
have a complete, but it's even more than that. I don't. A complicit media implies to me that yes, they've chosen to take this route,
Mhm.
but I think it goes even beyond that. I think that it's almost like states media. That's what it feels like.
Yes,
You know,
that's
this
what
is
the
the line.
BBC
Yeah,
is acting like.
this is the line you follow. You take this or you're out. So there's no
But-
choice.
But it's because we've become a police state. We're in a fascist
There you
country.
go.
Yep.
There
That's
you
just
go.
as simple as that. And I think
And that is it.
people we are about to lose our right to protest, and nobody gives a fuck. That's how bad it is. We are about to lose our right to protest. Priti Patel is ramming through Parliament as we speak, an act of Parliament that stops British people in the UK from protesting, and nobody in this country is aware of it. That's how sad it has become.
But you know what it is as well? It's not only that we're not aware of it, it's that even when you are made aware of it,
You don't care.
they don't care until, I'll tell you when they'll care, when it affects them.
Of course.
Right now, and I know we're going to talk about this with the court case, but right now we have all I can call it is an uprising, because that's what it feels like. An uprising from the government, from the newspapers, and also from members of the public, that our privacy laws that are in place to protect every single one of us, the human rights laws that are in place to protect every single one of us, they are now actively campaigning and jeering for those laws to be overturned. Why? Because Meghan won her case against the Daily Mail. How dare she, this woke black woman who stole our prince, win twice? She didn't win, so much so that they were saying, "Oh, we're taking it to the Supreme Court." Fine, you got the money, go do what the hell you like. She's still going to win.
But she's going to win because it's on the point of law.
It's on the point of law.
It's not a council opinion.
Exactly. Yeah. People are prepared to overturn that law so that she loses. But what they don't realize is they are going to be the biggest losers, because that is going to allow. That's going to allow every single broadcaster, every single government member to put your dirty underwear on the front of the newspaper, right?
Exactly.
That's what it's going to do. It's going to be on the side of the bus, yours. They will pay to protect each other, trust me. But it will be our stuff, all the stuff, the very same stuff that you are accusing Meghan of. That is what they will take that and they will make a story. And people think, well, I'm not important enough to be in the newspapers. Let me tell you something. It's not about importance. It's about the story. We had that poor woman just a couple of years ago, Danielle
Hindley.
That's right, Danielle Hindley, who was minding her own business, literally. And because the Daily Mail did a story on rogue cosmetic surgeons and mentioned her salon in the story, which had nothing to do with it. They would just literally, it's almost like someone going through the yellow pages and saying, oh, let's use that one as a point of reference. Destroyed the woman's life, caused anguish to her and anxiety to her young son. So they've had to pay her out because they were wrong.
Have they paid her out though?
Well, they haven't paid her all of it. They'd paid her some, but they hadn't paid her all. The last I heard, hopefully that's been corrected now. But you know, that was just a regular person going about her business.
Yeah.
So don't think for one moment that it can't happen to any one of us, because it can.
Yeah. I hear
Obviously, we're gonna get into it when we talk about the case. But just going back to the documentary for a second, I watched it again the other day, and like you, I was greatly disappointed with it because the first part was indeed promising. What I found interesting was the likes of Anna Pasternak, who wrote that stupid article about Kate being a kingmaker or whatever. And then obviously they had to, that you can't find that article now because the Cambridges got their lawyers out because she was shitty about, seemingly shitty about Carol in the article. No mention of the fact that she shat on Meghan as well, but in that article. And when they did redact all the bits, they left the bit where she was shitty about Meghan. But I digress. It gave me some joy to see her being very put out by that, because this is a woman that has been very vocal in has been a vociferous critic of the Sussexes, and for her to be, dicked over by the Cambridges just makes me laugh, just makes me smile, because these are the people that she champions for, because she's a royalist. But again, she needs her head examined. But yeah, it was it was a crap show. It really was. And what got me was the ending of it, how it ended with talking about how, quote unquote, Meghan lied to the court and apologized and all of that. I'm like, repeating that, that propaganda, repeating those very same tabloid lies without revealing the full context of what happened. That was also equally dishonest. Because saying how she collaborated with the Finding Freedom, what's his face, Omid Scobie, when that wasn't the case. She briefed her press guy, Jason Knopf, and he gave information which we know, as fans of hers, about her, nothing. And we've read the book. We did obviously know, but I don't think any of us actually paid money to read it. But we read the book, and there was nothing revelatory. There were no big revelations in it. These were all things that we knew about Meghan in the first place. So the fact that Finding Freedom and all of that came, was being used as a bludgeon, something to bludgeon her with in the court case was incredibly vexing. And then for Rajan to repeat that bit of propaganda really vexed me, and ended the show like that as well. It was, and yeah, you can tell that
what
it
he
was.
sorry,
You
what
can
he
tell
said,
that. Yeah.
what he
sorry.
said was what he said at the end was actually true. Not about Meghan, but his last thing at the end was, he said, royal journalism is about whose version of the story you choose to believe.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that
I agree
that
with
is
that.
completely true. And what he did was, he chose, the impression that he put out was that you are to believe the royal journalists, even though he had the facts there that prove that the royal journalists lie. Allegedly, not allegedly, but yeah, they, you know what I mean? They put out stories,
or they have three different stories.
Yeah, they put out stories that aren't quite true. But if you don't dig yourself, you don't know the truth. Now, us as part of the squad, we actually will dig and find out what is actually going on, and we can then debunk the lies. But what he said, that last quote at the end, was absolutely true. Royal journalism is about whose version of the story you believe. If they get it out first, and we've got sheeple in this country who will choose to believe them because it's in the press, that's the story that gets out. And it's the younger generation who are on Twitter or on social media who actually know the truth will come back and tell you what's going on. And that's unfortunately the situation that we're in at the moment. So that's what I'm going to say really to that. But it was a waste of time. It's not this couple of hours I'll never get back again. So
it was an hour.
Exactly.
No, I watched it twice.
But
2 hours.
Twice.
2 hours I'll never get back. So but yeah,
but they were clearly got at. The BBC clearly got at. And obviously we haven't talked about it, but the fact that Amal Rajan has been been put through the shitter now because of
he's been subject of a smear campaign himself now. The articles about him in the Fail is quite clear. The fact that they've rooted up these tweets that he made back in 2012. At the end of the day, and I have a real problem with this. That's his opinion. You
Yeah.
can have an opinion. He thinks,
Yes.
he's pro-Republican. And what? So because he's pro-Republican, he can't do a show about the princes and the press. That's just a load of absolute rubbish. I'm sorry.
Yep.
It's just got to the point that, we've all now got to think and feel the same so that we can do A, B, or C. Absolutely not. And the fact, to be honest, I think I'm more annoyed about the fact that he apologized as well. I'm like, what?
Yes,
you
I'm
apologizing for?
pissed off that he did that.
What you
Like, no,
apologizing for?
own that
If
shit,
that's how you
son.
feel, that's how you feel. I can tell you now, I'm never going to be awarded any kind of MBE, CBE, OBE, DBE, whatever, BBC. I can tell you now, I'm not getting it. Right? If they only got to look through my Twitter feed, they'll be like, oh, hell no. Let's send her to the tower instead. Right. However, but I know that. And even if by some strange fluke, someone said, you know what, we need to award that girl Edward something, I know my answer already. I've got my answer already. No, thanks. I don't want it. But that's my own belief.
Yeah.
But if something came up like 10 years time, 5 years time, and someone said, well, Gail, did you really say that about the Queen or about the royal family or about the government? And did you really, say that you wouldn't accept an MBE or whatever? Yes, I did. But you do realise that by saying that now, it makes you anti-monarchy. But I am anti-monarchy. I'm pro-Sussex, but I'm anti-monarchy. So I'm okay with that. You've got to be able to stand by your convictions. Otherwise, if you're not standing for anything, then you will fall for anything. It's as simple as that. So the fact that he turned around and said, oh, he apologizes. Apologizes for what? Because look, trust me, it's a metaphor. It's not really blue blood, right? The blood isn't really blue.
No.
red like everybody else's.
It's red like everyone else's.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's enough of that because it's a waste of our time, and it was just it was. I can't believe I wanted to see the second part of that. Do you know that? That's what hurts me the most. I really wanted to see what happened if he was going to carry on, but man, what a waste of time. He
got it. He was got at, and that we knew he was going to get got at after seeing everything in the run up to the first episode and everything afterwards. No, we'll talk offline about everything that's happened, why it was edited that way. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Shameless.
No, he wants to work again.
I know.
He wants to work,
Exactly.
I'm not gonna begrudge. I'm not gonna stop a man from putting food on his table for his wife and his kids.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna.
He's got bills to pay.
Exactly. I'm not gonna doom him for that because that's what he has to do to keep his family alive. But at the same time, it was a shit program. Sorry, simple as that. You know what I mean? So, anyhow, so with that, let's move on to our victory lap, which is Meghan's win again over the Mail on Sunday. So on Thursday, the 2nd of December, 2021, we got the news that the Mail on Sunday's appeal against Meghan's initial judgment of her privacy lawsuit had failed. So Meghan wins again. She immediately released the following statement. This is a victory, not just for me, but for anyone who's ever felt scared to stand up for what's right. While this win is precedent setting, what matters most is that we are now collectively brave enough to reshape a tabloid industry that conditions people to be cruel and profits from lies and pain that they create. From day one, I have treated this lawsuit as an important measure of right versus wrong. The defendant has treated it as a game with no rules. The longer they dragged it out, the more they could twist facts and manipulate the public, even during the appeal itself, making a straightforward case extraordinarily convoluted in order to generate more headlines and sell more papers, a model that rewards chaos above the truth. In the nearly 3 years since this began, I have been patient in the face of deception, intimidation, and calculated attacks. Today, the courts ruled in my favour again, cementing that the Mail on Sunday, owned by Lord Jonathan Rothermere, you hear that? has broken the law. The courts have held the defendant to account, and my hope is that we will all begin to do the same. Because as far removed as it may seem from your personal life, it's not. Tomorrow, it could be you. These harmful practices don't happen once in a blue moon. They are a daily fail. They are a daily fail that divides us, and we all deserve better. So, ladies, what do you think of this resounding victory again?
A daily fail.
Oh,
let me tell you, you gotta love our girl. You gotta love our girl.
I had to repeat that again, because I thought it was really good.
Yep.
I loved it. When I saw that, I was like, yes. Yeah. But can we just say, because we get our hate listeners, right? So let's just remind our hate listeners, because anyone that's not a hate listener knows this already. But let's just remind our hate listeners, Meghan was not the one on trial here, right? It was Associated Newspapers that were on trial, and they lost.
Again.
For the second time. But they go for a hat trick, don't you? So let's let them go for the hat trick, because I think that'd be really great. You lost 3 times in a row. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but aren't they allowed? They're supposed to apply to the to that court, the that court
Supreme
for
Court.
The Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court, yeah.
So they applied. Do they apply? I thought that okay. What's the one that they just lost? The appeals court. Do they not have to at first apply to the appeal court so that they can
take their case it further?
Yeah, they can do that, but they could be struck down by the appeals court, saying they've got nothing to appeal against.
Appeal against what?
Yeah,
it's the point of law.
You lose. That's it.
Exactly.
Sit on yourself, girl.
Sit on your. Yeah. Let's go back to the genius of that statement, right? First of all, it was amazing. Second of all, that Meghan has no shits to give, because she didn't even she did not write the geezer's name, the owner of the newspaper. She didn't get any of that right. He's actually Viscount Rothermere. You can call him Lord Jonathan his name is Jonathan Harmsworth, but he's Viscount Rothermere, not Lord Jonathan Rothermere. So
I don't care.
That wrong, but I
don't care. I don't care.
That's what I'm saying. She doesn't give a toss. So she wrote that wrong, and she's like,
bringing it up?
I'm saying that that's Meghan. She doesn't care. She probably knows, and she's like, well, fuck this guy. I'm just gonna. You're right. You got too many names, anyways. Let me just give you. Let me put them all in the wrong order.
Look,
so just to piss you off even more.
They call her what the hell they like. I don't care. I'm with Sandra on this one.
I don't care.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that Meghan is like, she has no shits to give. She and this her like miss whatever his title. That's funny to me, and I love that. She doesn't care, and obviously I don't care, because I love that she doesn't care. So good on her for fucking up his title, probably rub him up the wrong way. Good. I hope, but no. What I'm saying is good, Meghan. That's it. Shake his name up and call it and call out what exactly his organization is. A daily fail, because it exactly is that. And I love that for our girl. I love that for our girl. I love that she got, and then I read, obviously squaddies would know, Professor Maynard, his tweets with regards, so how he's a law professor. So he read the whole, sort of report, and he just broke it down so simply, so succinctly, and just basically said these people had no case, that they put all of this information out there, and they still had no case to answer to. And that's what the appeals court said. You had no case. This new information that you're giving us, adds nothing to your case.
Exactly.
Go away.
And
You know, and
even
let's talk about the additional information by one Mr. Jason Knopf, that snake.
well, before we go on to that, you know, Brian Cathcart himself from Byline
Exactly.
Times
He said it as
said
well.
exactly said the same
Same
thing.
thing.
There was no actual case. This was always and only ever about headlines, right?
Exactly.
It was sensationalism, and it hasn't changed. Even now, it's still continuing. They've lost, and they
But they're
will
still
continue
making
with these
money.
sensations. Yeah, exactly. They will continue with these sensational headlines and sound bites until until they get bored and move on to someone else, which isn't looking like it's going to happen for the foreseeable future. At this point, let me tell you, that poor woman that's holed up in Kensington Palace right now, that's in the airing cupboard, right? That poor woman that's literally in the airing cupboard, along with all the other ironing paraphernalia, right? She could run out of that palace stark naked down the road shouting any kind of obscenities or anything, and nobody would bat an eyelid because it's not Meghan. Right?
It's true.
Nobody would bat an eyelid. And if they do bat an eyelid, it would be Meghan releases the coat hanger from the airing cupboard. Right? That would be the headline. You know,
yeah, it's true. It's true.
But it's true. That is where we are. And it's a sad state of affairs. It's a really sad state of affairs because Meghan was not on trial. You know, Meghan was not on trial. It was Associated Newspapers that were on trial. But yet still there was this talk about bringing her dad in. Meghan's not on trial and neither is her dad. Right?
Yeah.
Jason Knopf in the first trial, right, was trying to say how he owned part of the copyright. Once he realised what the real implications of that were, he withdrew that. No,
Of course
he's not
he
part of
did.
the copyright. But the next thing you know, though, him and Wills are there knocking down Associated Newspapers' door to say, "Oh,
allegedly,
but look, we've got." Well, allegedly, knocking down their door to say, "Oh, look, we've got part of her emails because we did put the software on so that she couldn't keep anything, but we've got part of them." But they must think that they're dealing with, you know, who?
Like 5-year-olds.
I don't. Yeah, they must think they're dealing with, you know, idiots. Meghan was like, "Oh hell no! If you're going to release emails, release the whole damn lot." And anyone that actually reads those court documents, that's not just going from the headlines, will know. Number one, they didn't have a case. Number two, Meghan had a very strong case. But not only that, Meghan had receipts. There's all this thing about, oh, she's a liar. She should be done for perjury.
She didn't lie nowhere.
But not only that, I'm going to ask you the question. Do you remember every conversation, every text that you have sent or had over the past 4 or 5 years?
No.
Regardless of what it's been about. I don't.
No.
How can you? And especially if you're, number one, you're new to a country, you're new to a role, you're in an establishment that does not encourage relaxation for starters. So you're constantly on edge and under pressure. And someone comes to you who you supposedly trust because it's your aide, you think they've got your best interests at heart, and tells you about a book that's being written about you. It's going to be favourable. We just need to give them something. And if you read the court documents, she gave them her bio. She gave them. She said to Jason.
Exactly.
She said to Jason to give them. She never gave them any information about her inside leg, right? She gave them her bio. And the way people are carrying on was like, oh, and tell them I say this and tell them I say that. Oh, and I'm meeting Scobie for lunch on Tuesday and I'm going to tell him this and I'm going to. No.
It didn't happen like that.
It was none of that.
She didn't want to meet Scobie, did she?
She didn't want to meet
Scobie. Very clear.
She didn't think very highly of him, did she? Yeah.
And she didn't speak highly of him either. You know, I'm very indifferent to Scobie, I've got to be honest.
So am I.
But,
so am I.
You know, but Meghan, it's not like she was saying, oh, and the lovely Omid, you know, and then he sent me flowers. No. She didn't want to meet him. She didn't want to speak about it. She was going on Jason Say So as her aide.
What did he,
And of
what did he
course,
do?
and look at what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He set her
That, you know
up.
what that tells me? You know what that tells me? That tells me all of that was a setup. That's
Exactly,
all
he
that
set
tells
her
me.
up.
Hmm.
He set
You set her up to shag her.
Right, and now all these people are now saying, "Oh, she's this, she's that, she's." And I think the thing that really, still to this day, that really pains me about this whole Meghan situation is that nobody is exercising their own free will of mind.
No,
They're just,
because
you know,
because they
if you
believe
did,
what's put in front of them.
they
There's no
believe in
critical
what's
thinking.
no critical thinking at all, you know, and people are just believing what's put in front of them. They're not looking at the facts. They're not putting themselves in that situation. They've turned that woman into, you know, they've totally dehumanized her. Totally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but the one thing I'm so glad for, so grateful for on a daily basis, and I do join the Sussex Prayer Chain, is that she's happy with Harry in America and their
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
she could be still over here very unhappy, or she could be somewhere else not very happy. But she's happy. She's got her mum, she's got her friends. And just because we don't know, and you know, this whole thing about we don't see Lily, good, I'm glad. I hope we never see Lily. You know,
I
when
hope
we
we
know
don't see her
what,
until she attends college.
But you know
right,
what, right?
or until she releases her own photos on Insta.
But you know what?
If she gets an
we haven't
Instagram.
seen a picture of what's that woman?
See, we don't even know the woman.
The York girl, the one who had the baby the other day.
They both had babies, didn't they?
No, the one who had one in
Beatrice and
September.
Eugenie. Oh, Beatrice.
Beatrice.
Yeah, we haven't seen a picture of her baby, have we?
Well, I couldn't. Even if we had, I wouldn't know because I don't.
No,
I really.
my point being, they're all hysterical about having a picture of Lily, but this is the newest grandchild, or was it great grandchild of the Queen? We ain't seen no picture of this child, but not a peep, not a peep,
not a peep, not a peep.
Nothing.
But also as well,
hypocrisy.
You know,
the hypocrisy of it all.
There you go. It's the hypocrisy of it, and you know, it's quite clear that Meghan likes to keep her private life private. She'll give 100% public, but she wants to keep her private life private. And she was very much like that even before Harry, to be fair. And, you know, so when people say, oh, well, we don't know her family, what do you need to know her family for? You know her mum, and that's enough. What more do you need to? Meghan could be there sitting down, you know, cutting 10 with her cousins every day for all we know.
But why would we want to
that
know?
she's not? Exactly. Why would we want to know? And that brings us back to these privacy laws. Why do we need to know the content of her letter to her dad?
We didn't.
We don't need to know.
No, if she, there could be, there's an argument that if with regards, not, you know, we don't need to know that, because at the end of the day, that is a private letter between, you know, a daughter and a father, you know, with the whole privacy thing. Say, for example, like when Charles was trying to intervene with government matters and was writing to ministers, I can see a case for that. But that's only because it's government things. I want to know about shit like that. I don't need to know the relationship Meghan is having with her father. That should not be up for a public debate or opinion. But I want to know if a member of the royal family is intervening in government business, because last I checked, I pay for both of those things.
Well, they're not supposed to, are they? It's a separation between the royalty and the family.
Things, and they're supposed to be apolitical. You know,
well,
you can't be apolitical.
They're a ceremonial head. They don't pay it. Thank you. They don't play an active role in the government. All the Queen is there to do is sign off acts of Parliament. That's her job. She doesn't intervene in the day-to-day running of the government. Because when the clown sent up Rees-Mogg to go and ask her to prorogue Parliament so that he could stop Brexit from going through, she just went along with it because she couldn't say, well, she could, but she didn't. She said, okay, because that's not her job to stop it. It's not her job to stop
95.
it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, the woman's 95. My mum's 83, right? Strong as an ox. But I'm not giving her control of anything to do with blinking or management of my business. Hell no.
Yeah. And on top of that, the other thing you have to also see with the Queen is that she's surrounded by people that support Brexit and support this government. So that's that's not, totally, fair. It's not fair that she's surrounded by people who support this. We
live in a so-called democratic society, and it is labelled Her Majesty's government. So whoever comes in is Her Majesty's government. That's what it is. So because she is supposed to be above the fray, she can't interfere. She has the power to interfere, but she can't do it because of all the political ramifications that's going on. That's why the clown could prorogue Parliament, because he knew she couldn't do it. It's as simple as that. And I just think
they need to let that woman go to her bed and rest now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's
had a good innings and she's done her bit. Whether you like her or you don't, or you're pro monarchy or you're not, she's been there 70 years. Oh, let her sit down for 5 minutes, please.
Well, she can make that decision, and she don't want to do that. I think part of it is out of spite.
No, it's not out of spite. She just believes. She just
believes
that and she just believes that you're queen till you die. Sorry, that's her belief. Whether you agree with it or not, it's a completely different matter. But that's what she believes. I'm not going to sort of slag her off for that. What can you say? What can you do? That's what she believes. She's gonna be here until she's at least 100. I can't see her going before she's 100.
I don't know. The way she's been going recently.
Her mother lived to 102, didn't she? So
yes, she did. But I think we're getting into dangerous territory when we start.
Yes, we are. Yes, sorry. Yeah. But I don't think she's going anywhere soon. Let's put it that way. So,
but anyways, back to this resounding victory for Meghan. It was just absolutely joyous, and I love the statement that she made. And all the more, I'm just also I'm still laughing my head off at the reaction that she's getting. The reaction, obviously, over here, the lunatics have left the asylum and are going absolutely mental. Yeah. But you know what? Not that I ever watched it, but I saw some. But yeah, they've taken over. But I saw clips from was it Friday's Jeremy Vine show? Well, yeah, Thursday and Friday.
Sophia from London.
Let me
our hero.
yes, the Thursday show, because that was the date. That was the date
our
came
hero.
out. Yes.
Our hero.
So Sophia from London, I love you, sis. Please come on the show at some time.
Please come on the show, Sophia. We need you on here. Whoever you are, we need Sophia from London. Because Sophia from London let them know straight. There was no chaser. She just gave it to them straight. Right. And I think for once, Jeremy Vine, I think it's almost like he had a moment of lucidity. He was like
no. He looked like a man that was like, oh shit, she said the quiet part loud.
For a moment. It was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And the thing is, a lot of people feel like Sophia of London. They just don't have a voice to be. They're not allowed to be heard, because, as we all know, there is a pact, or allegedly, there's a smear campaign that will not allow voices like that to be heard on TV, on British stations, because they have an agenda. It's as simple as that, really.
Absolutely.
But for people who are outside the UK, Sophia of London is not an aberration. She's more of a majority. As I keep saying, the younger generation support Meghan and Harry so much more than these what you see on TV. It's amazing. When you're in with them,
the thing with Sophia, exactly how they feel. With Sophia, I don't think she was. She sounded a bit older. I would say she was probably 30s or 40s. She sounded like an older person. She wasn't young.
I thought she was my age, to be honest.
But they're saying that more people support Meghan and Harry in the UK than don't. It's as you get to like 60, 65, 70, the old hardcore monarchists, they're the ones who really support, don't like her. They just don't like her. But if you go down from about 65 downwards, probably 60 downwards, Meghan has got loads of support
Yeah,
Loads.
absolutely. And it's like what in that program, that awful program we did watch, they did he a point made was that the 65-year-olds also still buy newspapers.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
not many,
So
but they do. Yeah, but
yeah, they
there you
do.
go.
No,
Yeah.
listen, I saw an old man on the bus today with a Daily Mail, and I wanted to just put
Rip it out his hand.
I rip
You're
it
not
out
gonna,
of his hands.
but you're not going to. You're never going to stop that, because they are of a generation that
Yeah.
believe what the press puts in front of them. That's the generation they are. They're very differential. They
Yeah.
don't know any different. It's the people who are younger than that who know they can get their information from other sources. And that's why newspaper circulation is plummeting in the UK, because really it's only 65 and above that buy papers. Well, there's not many of them left, is there?
Nope.
Especially with the pandemic, you know.
Yep.
There you go.
Sorry.
But also as well, what we're finding is that, like you say, the younger people, with the rise of their social, so they're really into like TikTok and doing the reels and Snapchat. They're extending their viewpoint to others that wouldn't necessarily get to see it or hear it either. So there is definitely a swelling tide of support for Harry and Meghan, I think, in the UK. But the other thing that I wanted to make on this point regarding just the tabloid media in general is that there are some people, unfortunately, who not only just take it as gospel, but they almost take it as being like their personal mission now. It becomes such a personal mission to be an advocate for that kind of hatred and vitriol. And that's the bit that I'm really concerned about, that I'm seeing that, I've seen people who innocently make comments in some threads, something like, oh, I think she's lovely, I'm glad she's won, which is very non-offensive, it's very inoffensive. But then you'll get someone straight after who will say, well, she told all these lies, she deserves everything she gets. Why can't she just go in a tunnel? And you think,
yeah,
how does it escalate to that? What kind of person do you have to be that someone says, oh, I really like her, and you escalate it to the point where you think she needs to go in a tunnel?
Because the thing is, when you can comment on, like, websites or whatever it is, it's anonymous. So you can say this, whatever the fuck you like, and no one can really, unless you're really determined and know how to trace the IP address and who they are and trace them down, you can say whatever you like on these sites, can't you? And no one can touch you. It's cyberbullying, basically, isn't it? You're anonymous.
Absolutely.
It's easy. You can say what you like. But do you think, right, that if someone said innocently out on the street, oh, I think she's really nice, I'm glad she won, do you really think that same person would come up to her and say, oh, I think she's a liar and this, that, and the other to a person's face?
No.
Hell no, because they're cowards. Cyberbullying allows people to think they're big and bad on their keyboard, because no one can see them and no one can find them. It's easy. Yeah. But if you have to say it's someone's face straight up and people turn around and said, what are you saying? They soon back down because they are cowards. That's all it is, and once you understand that that's what they are, because they would never dream of saying to somebody's face, I don't pity them, but you just sort of think, oh, go away. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I sort of that's how I view them now. They're quite pitiful,
It is very pitiful. It's very sad. For my own mental health and sanity, I tend not to read any of the negativity and try to stay away from it as much as I can, because, the things people say, they may think they're directed at Meghan, but I can tell you now, they're just as directed at me as they are at her. Because if that's how you think about somebody you don't know, that you don't have any access to, that you formed an opinion on by someone else telling you to, bloody
Mm.
hell, what the hell would you do with me?
It's
It was in your face.
because there's this guy on YouTube. He's got a channel called By Any Means Necessary, and I love him. He's brilliant. It's this black guy from, I think he's from South London, and he says Brexit has tapped into the racist gene,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and
It has.
that sums it up
I've seen
perfectly.
it. I think any of us that have been here have
Yeah.
seen, literally, like I say all the time, it's a very simple timeline to measure, right? In 2005 was when we got the news that we were going to be awarded the Olympic Games in
Yeah.
2012. And
Absolutely.
the country was euphoric in
Mhm.
2005. Because
Yeah.
straight after we got that news, unfortunately, we
We
had
had
the
the
terrorist
bombings.
attack in London.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 7/7 bombing.
Yeah.
All right. But there was a real rallying though of people coming together. And then in 2012, we put on that amazing Olympic Games, which really showed if ever there was a time I was proud to be British, it was 2012.
Oh God, yeah. That was
I
amazing.
remember being on the tube late at night, coming back from Stratford and East London, where where the Olympic Park was, and everyone just being in. It was literally like party all the way from Stratford right up to the other end of the Central Line, West Ruislip, and it was like party central all the way.
I was in
Right.
I was in Hyde Park watching the triathlons, and it was oh my God, it was the best time. It was like you said, it was just a completely different atmosphere. Everybody pitched in, everyone was happy, everyone was talking to each other. That was London. That's how London. That was London at its core.
So how do you get from there in 2012 to in 2016? Because people have told you that that person standing next to you that doesn't look like you, that doesn't sound like you, is here to basically do you harm. So much so that you go and vote for something that you don't even know about. It has been proven that the day after the Brexit vote, the number one search in the UK is, what does Brexit mean?
Yep.
Because no one knew.
How is that when you voted the day before?
It was just, but you know what? With the Brexit vote, I don't think the politicians who plugged for it actually expected it to happen.
They didn't.
You look at Boris Johnson's face. Yeah, Boris Johnson's face.
They were shocked.
And Michael, because they knew it was going to be a disaster.
They didn't expect
we're living through it now.
Yeah,
look at it.
They had no plan for it because they didn't expect it to go through. What Nigel Farage and Boris and Michael Gove and those guys expected was that they would lose, but they would use it as a beating stick for many years to come to the government in charge. Oh, well, if we had voted Brexit, or if we had allowed the country to really know what's going on, then They did not expect it to happen. And now it's happened, as we have seen from the day we got that vote. Nobody had any plan. There was no plan to execute this and implement it. And that's why we're in the state now. No plan.
Yep.
It's just ridiculous. It's just the country's falling apart. It's literally falling apart. And these people are still going on about how wonderful it is. Brexit is going to last for 75 years. We're not going to see the benefit of it. Our children are not going to see the benefit of it. Our great-grandchildren will not see the benefit of it. It's a disaster. It's ruining the country. And the UK, the union of the UK is going to fall apart. Scotland is going to become independent. Northern Ireland is going to become united. It's done. And even done. Wales will probably break off. It's done.
Wales want to break off. Wales can't wait to break off.
Yeah.
But I've decided I'm going to Scotland to retire.
I'm not going. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm not staying here. That's all I can say. I'm not staying here. It's just ridiculous. It's just it's sad. It's sad to see a country fall apart because we literally have a clown leading the circus. That's what we've got running the country at the moment. That's what it is. It's a clown leading the circus. He has no idea how to govern at all. He has no idea how to govern at all. He's got sycophants around him, and the country's going down the toilet. what more can I say?
But not only did he not expect Brexit, he also didn't expect to be Prime Minister either. You know, the man is a bumbling fool. But, you know, allegedly.
Okay,
you know.
yeah.
But anyhow, I can't waste any more time talking about him. I'm just really happy that our girl won again. And, you know, she will continue winning. Her and her husband are absolutely success. They are the Duke and Duchess of success. We saw it briefly today, again, when Harry was at work. Imagine you have got so much power, right, that when you're at your day job, the whole world talks about you.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Oh, I love it.
I love it.
Oh,
Imagine,
man.
you at your day job, at your desk, you know, doing your job, and the whole world is speaking about you. I love that.
I remember they have no influence, right? Remember they're irrelevant.
They're
they
irrelevant.
Have no influence.
Yeah,
they have no influence. But there you go.
No, was it everybody hates them?
Yeah, really.
Yes.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite line when I read that. You know, oh, everybody hates them. You know, they're losing, and I just think, oh wow. That's your perspective.
To quote Enable, what else?
Oh my God. Do you know what? I don't even want to talk about her, but all I can say, for those of you that follow my Twitter feed, all I'm going to say is, I told you so. All I'm going to say. I told you so.
Oh, good grief. Anyways, I think that is it for this episode. I mean, it's a victory lap. I think we all deserved. But we got a bit deep there, I think, for a little while there. But
can't help but get deep about Britain's politics, British politics.
But not only that, the whole treatment of Meghan is very synonymous with where we are in Britain.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
I'm convinced. Had Harry met Meghan in 2012, it would be a very different landscape. Yeah. But she came in 2016, the same year as the Brexit vote, the anti-immigration, you know, everyone was anti-immigrant at the time. You know, the British populace was anti-immigrant. The Daily Mail thought that they were doing their own victory lap because Brexit came through. You know, Meghan didn't stand a chance against that. She didn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
No.
But I'm glad they're happy. I'm just glad they're happy in there. How many bathrooms are they up to now?
16.
It was 16 originally. I think we're up to about 19 bathrooms.
I think so by now, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're up to 19
and then tomorrow will be 25.
Now.
So
yeah, tomorrow we're on 25. But today I think it's 19 bathrooms they've got today. Bless them.
Yeah.
You know.
These are their bathrooms. They paid for themselves.
They are.
Yeah.
Ain't no one else's bathroom but their own. And I love that. You know, knock yourselves out. You know, use as many as you like.
Yeah, you can use a different bathroom every day of the week. You know, yeah, good for them.
Every hour of the day, if you like. Good for them. I love it.
Okay. Alrighty, let's wrap this up then, because I'm tired. Let's get to bed. I'm really worn out. Okay, so that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to Gail and Nelly for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Don't forget to send in questions and or topics that you'd like to have discussed in future episodes. If you'd like to be a guest panelist on the podcast, please reach out to me at hello@aduchesslikeus.com on email, or DM me at duchessus on Twitter. If you like what you've heard today, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, please share this episode with anyone else who you think would be interested in listening to this. If you have time, I'd be grateful if you could leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, as it helps more people hear and see the podcast. I really hope that you've enjoyed this episode and you'll come back for more. So I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.